Hello, everybody. Grand Rising. Welcome to the People's Congregation of Shakers and Movers. And this is our first installment of Rise Up Breathwork for 2024. And as you all know, I have been super pumped about this whole concept of the year of the dragon. Yeah. And just a bit about my personal journey. This kind of marks the end of a very important cycle for me as a woman, because my daughter, my firstborn, is a dragon baby. So she and I have now been in existence for one full cycle in the Chinese, zodiac. So, it's a big time of reflection for me, because I'm like, what next do I want to manifest? As always, I'm always cooking up something. But, one thing that I just wanted to quickly discuss today before we got the show started was just, we've all set our intentions, our sankalpas, or our resolutions, or whatever we want to call it, for the new year. And Matt and I just wanted to remind you to be gentle with yourself. Take it one day at a time and titrate up slowly. Yeah. And, I woke up this morning with a jacked up back because during my break, did I take it easy? Oh, of course not. I was at a fundraiser all day yesterday. I was moving and shaking in Maine. I was hosting parties at my house like usual. So, of course, the repercussion of that was my back was jacked up again. But instead of laying around and feeling sorry for myself, I decided to scoop myself up and get to the sauna and do the breath work and do the yoga. And in the sauna, I realized something about healing is that you have to want to love yourself, and you have to want to heal in order to take the next step. So self-love and self-care is what we're all about here at People's Congregation of Shakers and Movers. And we have a couple of community events coming up this week that I wanted to talk about so that we can all come together to talk about how we're going to move forward in this new year. So this Friday, we have Stephanie Buckley, who's a very old and dear friend of mine, coming to the chapel with a bucket full of crystals. And we are going to do some crystal wrapping. She's going to bring the wire. She's going to bring the crystals. You need to bring the stick. So your official job from now until Friday is to get your body out into nature, out into the woods, maybe a park, maybe the Rockland Town Forest, like whatever calls to you, the Blue Hills. Get outside, take a little walk, and try to find yourself a stick. That stick is going to become a magic wand, a divination tool, an altar piece, something that you can take home with you to just kind of remind yourself about the intentions that you set for this year and about the community that you have connected with here at PCSM. Yeah. So then on Saturday, we have DJ Diagonal. Mo and Joe have been coming to the church almost every single Saturday in 2023 since they moved to the South Shore, and they have added so much to this community's energy and vibration, and I'm so excited for him to take to the altar, to spin his records, to raise the vibration for the rest of the congregation. So that's what we're about here, raising the vibration through music, breath work, yoga. I think we're going to be starting a meditation program with Sarah this year.
Yeah, that's right, Wednesday night.
And then Wednesday night, Matt has his midweek vibe check, which is a really cool opportunity to receive sound healing with some light breath work. We're kind of calling it sound healing for regular folks, because we do know how intimidating it can be if you don't have the Lululemons and you don't have the practice to walk into a yoga studio and learn about these things. So that's why we're here, because we are very come as you are and judge free. So check Matt out on Wednesdays. Arrive around 7. I believe you do it from 7:30 to 8:30.
Yeah.
But doors open at 7 for some just light socializing. We always have tea and coffee available, as well as refreshments in the free soda machine. And that is a donation-based event. And speaking of donations, I also want to thank all of the members that have signed up in 2023, because without your support, we could not create these free programs. So for the bargain price of $25 a month, you'll be able to drop in here, hopefully Mondays, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays, along with the Friday night support group for these free activities. And of course, we never turn anybody away if you cannot afford the membership. So that's my spiel.
There you go.
Happy New Year, Matt. I'm so happy to see your face, and thank you for dedicating this Tuesday to me for the last over 2 years, because calming my central nervous system was a full-time job. And I feel a lot better about where I'm at, but I know I'm still, I still have work to do every day, and I certainly had resolutions that I know I needed to make, and things to let go of and things to call in. So thank you for supporting me, being my friend. So what do you have in store for us today, Matt?
Yeah, so, well, we always write out the resolutions, right? And then we're just what we want for next year. So a part of me feels like it's important to actually kind of reflect on last year
Okay.
first before we even come up with something,
Okay.
because part of it too is acknowledging like our success.
Okay.
And so whatever you wrote down like the other night at your house, like, are you building off of something from last year, from what you
a lot
wrote
of
down?
them, yeah.
And so just almost acknowledging like what happened last year, and honoring that and celebrating that, and then seeing how that's going to transfer into this year and have even more growth. So I think it's important to almost connect the two. And then some may be new, and even acknowledging some things that may have been a struggle, which, if we really look at it too, is a gift.
True.
If we
Catalyst
open
for
our-
change. Perhaps.
Exactly, yeah.
I like that.
So it's going to be, so I'm just going to invite everyone to get a pen and paper and to maybe sit today. And it's going to be a combination of breathing and just reflecting and creating.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to go take my
Okay.
place. We do have a guest today, which I'm very excited about, so I'm going to go take
Yeah.
my place with her.
Okay.
All right. Take it away, Matt.
Yeah. It's starting to get warm. It's pretty
Is there
cold.
like a specific number of things you want us to write down or anything like that?
No, I'll let you know.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay.
So
Just sit and listen.
it'll be like breathing, meditating, writing.
Okay, cool. I'm excited.
It's going to be a little bit of a combo today. Yeah, now I'm actually getting warm. I'm going to take this off.
Okay.
It was like winter in here. It
It's
was,
so hot. You
when
guys
I
saw the
came in
body
this
sun
morning.
Saturday, and then I brushed and went back up. It's
yeah.
because I was heating it over this
So I'm just going to invite everyone to just become comfortable in your chair. Maybe close your eyes for a moment or have a light gaze. And just to kind of like tune in to your breath for a moment. Bringing your attention, your awareness to how are you breathing. Maybe taking a moment to just reflect on the silence and the quietness around you. Maybe even breathing that into the body and allowing for a little bit more stillness and quietness with the breath. And just kind of not only tuning into our breath, but into like how is the body feeling as we get back into life. Maybe allowing for a softness within our system, giving it a break. Any tension or areas that are of discomfort, just maybe breathe into that, and on your exhale, just kind of breaking it apart, moving it, shifting it, allowing for any movement in the body that's necessary, or sounds if you need to on the out breath, like hum. Sometimes humming or sound can help break up any knotted heaviness type sensations or movement. We don't always need to be still when meditating or breathing. It's not about not moving. It's about listening to the needs of the body, and sometimes there is sound or movement that's the body may be asking for, and honoring that. Just keep attention to that breath. Maybe a nice deep inhale through the nose up to the top of the head for a small hold. And then on that out breath too, an invitation to just kind of sink into how are you feeling now compared to 10 minutes ago. maybe a little bit lighter, a little bit softer, maybe a little bit more present with the moment. And like I was saying, like many of us may have written out intentions, we may have had fires, we may have spoke them, we may have written them in our journals. We, focus on what is it that we need to bring into this coming year. And so just a little bit something different is to acknowledge, our successes from last year. Because when we're building and creating, like to take a step back and to acknowledge successes and maybe failures. I don't like to use that word. Maybe things that didn't go as planned. But acknowledging that and continuing to build onto that system or what we're beginning to create. And things that maybe didn't work out, we can look at maybe as it needed to be tweaked a little bit differently. Maybe it wasn't really initially done in a way that was correct for our vision or who we are. And so today I'll be guiding you a little bit, and we're going to write briefly for 6 times, roughly. And so within your mind, within your imagination, kind of maybe hitting the rewind button, and just kind of going back to last New Year's, like entering 2023. And maybe just bringing into your thought process of what you were doing, who you were with, maybe even seeing if you can recall the intentions you were setting for 2023. Maybe thinking of the people you were with, any partners or friends that were close at the time. Maybe even shifting down to like Valentine's Day, and did you take yourself out, treat yourself well, kids, partners, who is present with you. Maybe gently bringing yourself into spring. That time of year when the shorts start coming out, a little bit warmer. Maybe noticing nature and the flowers and life coming back. What did you do for that? How did you notice rebirthing on the planet? Maybe bring yourself to that early holiday weekend, gatherings, friends, traveling. Did you travel during the summer? Visit family? And we're just lightly bringing ourselves through, like your birthday. What happened on your birthday this year? Just gently, softly, just reminding self of how maybe people supported us, held us, left us. Maybe new people came in. bringing yourself to the fall for a moment, recognizing the end of a cycle, the changes that occur within nature, within us. Maybe remembering this past Thanksgiving, who were you with? What were you thankful for? And then leading into the end of 2023, the busyness of holidays and gifts and family, and just maybe even honoring yourself for everything that you did for everyone and keeping it together. And so, looking at 2023 and reviewing briefly here on self-care for a moment. Maybe you had some intentions you set up for self-care and what you were going to do for yourself. And maybe just revisiting that, where you're bringing in more nature, maybe being more barefoot out on the beach or in the woods. Maybe focusing on massages or taking care of anything within our system that needed a little bit of attention. What were your successes? What did you maybe start and then forget about and didn't really follow through with? And just acknowledging all of this. The self-care of how we speak, our words to self, to others. Movement. What practices did you bring in or change this year? What routines do you maybe have in the morning? Are you starting off with a little bit of breathing and relaxation and calmness? Or are you rushing to make your cup of coffee feeling already behind on the day? Just bringing all this to light, to the forefront. And then just gently kind of bringing yourself back to the space, to the room that you are in. And just for 1 minute here, we're just going to write and acknowledge your self-care for 2023. And we're not going to, nothing about this year, but just to, for a moment, just to kind of write out anything that comes to you within your own self-care and acknowledging from 2023. And just let it flow. You don't have to have correct sentence structure or anything like that. And anything that maybe you didn't stay with, just remembering that, just to acknowledge that, maybe to build off of that as we move through this. And then just finishing up what you're writing and gently putting the pen back down. And maybe settling back into your breath for a moment. And just kind of bring yourself back into your system. And this is always something as well that you can come back to. And as we're settling back in, just deepen your breath. Breathe in the manner that works for you and the body. And maybe let's reflect on family and friends and our social circles, the circles that are growing, that we're creating. Maybe our community. Is our community changing? Is it growing? Is it shifting? Is the community in one place or in two places, in different states? Are there different things going on for you within the same city? Maybe different communities that you're bringing in together. Contemplating our families and any intentions that we had set maybe during the year for our loved ones, our children, our partners, our friends. What did we celebrate with our friends? Was there a lot of hugging, holding each other, supporting each other? Gatherings with our friends, disagreements, maybe some problems arose, some difficulties, some challenges in the pathway. How we handled that ourselves, with our friends, not judging what happened or if it was correct or not, but just acknowledging. Maybe even the care that we brought to them, the health of people, offerings, gatherings. And then just gently bringing yourself back into the space and just kind of like write whatever comes up for a minute in regards to our family, friends, and the people around us, the journeys, the struggles, the gifts that were offered, the successes, anything that may come up for 1 minute. And then just gently putting that away and putting that aside, finishing up whatever is coming out, and then settling back into the breath, into our bodies. As we prep just for one more scenario of last year before we shift. Professionally, what have we done within our workplace? What we do? Did we leave a job? Did we add a job? Did we create something new? Are we on a new pathway with what we do professionally, for work? What were some struggles through this year? What were some gifts? Did we leave a job? Did we create more space within our work? Did we have balance within our work world? Or did it control us, or you, or self? What goals did you have in 2023 that were met, maybe forgotten about? Maybe they even changed. Maybe we had one vision, one dream, and it kind of took a right-hand turn, then a left-hand turn, and went down a hill and then back up a hill. It's part of the beauty, right? Acknowledging the frustrations, the growth, the changes that came, and just gently kind of bringing yourself back again and just taking a moment to write out and just acknowledging and honoring the workplace for a moment here from 2023. Yeah, Sandy. I just threw a pen down for you. And then just gently putting that aside. And I'm just going to invite you to take your right hand, place it under your left armpit. And then your left hand on top of your right shoulder. And just create a self-hug, a thank you to yourself for just honoring everything and seeing the building blocks a little bit of 2023. and just honoring yourself for the successes, honoring yourself for the growth, and honoring yourself for moving through the stuff that maybe wasn't so smooth sailing, little bumpy roads, and maybe just saying thank you to yourself and honoring your system. And now we have moved through the new year, and so many of you may have already written up, thought about, talked about your intentions for 2024. And so maybe just reflecting for a moment on what you may have written or spoken or thought, and maybe just gently even seeing what may have already been started from 2023, and just honoring that this is just another building block, another refocus, a new, maybe writing a new chapter within the book. And just tuning into your breath, tuning into the body, tuning into the body for that self-care. And just, what's your focus for this upcoming year? Did you make any new thoughts or ideas of what we need to do for self-care? Am I going to go to the gym? Am I going to walk in nature? Maybe I want to just go sit by the ocean once a week and listen to the waves for an hour. Maybe finally go get that massage. Maybe to go hug a tree. Maybe sharing the self-care with a loved one or a family member. And having experiences within the self-care together. Or doing things together where we're honoring our system, our body, our mind. Is there a new meditation practices you would like to bring in? Maybe bringing more awareness to our breath and to the body and how it's connected. Maybe developing a relationship with the breath. Maybe even developing a relationship with ourselves at a deeper level. Not being so disconnected. Maybe taking a bath once a week. Or just enjoying a shower a little bit longer. There's so much beauty behind self-care and what we're doing for ourselves, for our system, our practices, our beliefs. And then just gently bringing yourself back and just maybe flipping the paper over for 2024 and just kind of writing down anything that may be new, anything that's being built up a little bit bigger from last year, since we have that connection right now. Or maybe even something new arose within you within self-care. And then just gently kind of placing that down and tuning back into the breath, finishing whatever you're writing. Knowing that you can come back to this, maybe some new reflections or thoughts about your self-care coming up that you want to revisit maybe later today or tonight. Or maybe to even talk to someone. Tuning back into that breath for a moment. Tuning back into the body. And maybe just bringing in like our community, our friends, our family, any intentions, things that we want to build on into this coming year. More patience or ability to listen. Maybe approaching situations difficult or celebration. And knowing and checking our heart space. What space are we entering our community? How we're helping people. How we're supporting loved ones and children and family. Our work partners. Even strangers on the street. Maybe bringing more smiles into our day to a stranger. Maybe just carrying that higher vibration and just sharing that with everyone around us. Any vacations planned, trips planned, or things that you do want to do for community, for family, or maybe there's some shifting or some movement that must occur. And just gently kind of bringing yourself back and just kind of like just let anything out on the paper that in relationship to our families and our community, and maybe building a little bit on from last year or building on what our intention was as we enter this, or maybe something new is arising within you, a new thought, a new idea. And then just kind of gently finishing that thought, knowing that this is something that you are welcome to come back to. Tuning back into that breath for a moment. Tuning back into the body, maybe bringing our thoughts to our professional life, our businesses, our workplace, our work relationships, our tasks. What is it that we are looking to do this year? How are we going to grow? What are we maybe going to leave behind? What changes do we see coming or would like to come? What growth do we want to see? Are we looking for more freedom within our job or our experience? Or are we looking to free ourselves a little bit more from what we do for work? Creating something more separate. Are we looking to create our own job? Or are we looking to retire? Are we looking to kick back and relax a little bit more? Are we looking for support, change? Are we looking to grow your own business, add more people into it? Maybe create more offerings. Maybe close a business door and open a new one. Maybe shift the business around the country a little bit more, open up in other places. Are we looking to treat our coworkers differently? Maybe even checking our space where we're meeting our coworkers from the heart-centered place, or is it a place of frustration and anger? And then just bringing yourself back for a moment and just taking one last moment just to kind of write out anything that's coming to you within your professional life, work life, retirement life, whatever it may be. And then just an invitation here, just to kind of finish up what you're writing, to put and to keep the paper in front of you for a moment when you're done, and to kind of like, I'm going to invite you to tap back into your breath and let everything go. So just a nice deep inhale through the nose, up to the top of the head for a light hold. And then just really exhaling in any way that is fit for you. If it's a strong exhale, just releasing everything, all the work that we just did, the review, the energies and what we want to create for this upcoming year. My invitation here, just to end it for today, is to pick up the piece of paper, to look at the creation or the things that we're going to build upon for this coming year. and to, when you read it, just to take 2 or 3 breaths into what you're looking at. And my invitation here for you is to see if you can find the energy of whatever that thing is that you wrote down. To maybe, because it's not only just about writing it and saying it, but it's also about this discovery of the energy of it and creating the energy as well as the words before it comes into truth or before it's created. So just taking a few breaths in, and this is a beautiful practice to maybe even do a couple times this week, maybe daily, to really look at and let our intentions for this year sink in a little bit deeper than just and to even maybe add more within this week if that comes to you. And discovering the energy may be difficult. So if it's like something that's like a celebration, or maybe we can really even celebrate it or see it happening, or how are we going to react when it comes to truth, this discovery of the energy of that thing. And so this is just an invitation as you just to kind of reflect and look at this stuff as you shift through this week, maybe even this whole month. So I wanted to start off this new year with just a little bit of a different look at how we set our intentions and maybe how we're going to view this upcoming year. How was that? How was that for you down there, Sandy?
Well, it was really good.
Yeah.
I feel like I have a good blueprint now. You know what I mean? Like, just, I know what I need to do.
Yeah.
And I've known, everybody kind of knows, but I think I should step over here so they can actually hear me.
Well, you're pretty vocal on what you want to do, so yeah.
Well,
and it's, but
like
you also
talked about this
you also
weekend.
have private stuff and stuff like that too.
Well, no, but more like what you talked about this weekend about just like naming it.
Yeah.
Like naming it and giving it a vibration, and then like you said, feeling it as if, you know what I mean, it's already happening. And then and then another thing about healing, and just, again, like I said, it's like I put some energy and effort this year into people who I realized at the end of the day actually didn't want to help themselves.
Yeah.
And I've determined that that's actually a really bad investment of my energy. So I think that, again, by naming it and acknowledging these things, you're making an agreement to help yourself. Because at the end of the day, no doctor is going to fix you. No therapist is going to fix you. You control and you write the script. And you actually have, and your mind actually has pretty much all the power. You know what I mean? So I also find it very frustrating as a wellness coach when people are like, the doctor gave me this. The doctor didn't fix me. The doctor. Be your own doctor. Be your own healer. Like, really, the wisdom of our body. And when we take the time to sit and be more still, whether you call it meditation, whether you call it breath work, just the art of being and like tapping in and listening to your inner wisdom is the best medicine that time can provide you. You know what I mean? Like the time and the energy and the effort that you invest in yourself versus maybe the traditional healthcare system that might be failing you is going to come back to you. Like, this is what I'm seeing. I'm seeing this time and time again. So, again, people are asking me, how do I get off these pharmaceuticals, or, how do I change? And I think like taking more time to sit with your inner guide and ask maybe source, like what it is that you need. Because I'm telling you, you probably already know. You know the changes that you need to make deep down inside. You know what you're supposed to be doing. You're just not doing it. So no doctor is going to do the work for you. You have to show up for yourself. You have to love yourself, and you have to love yourself first so that ripples out, and then you can help other people. But if your like cup is empty because you're just always helping other people, taking other people to their doctor's appointments and stressing about other people's ailments, like, you're going to forget about yourself. And if you forget about yourself, then you're not going to be able to maintain taking care of your community, right? So it does kind of go back to what we spoke about at the beginning, that self-care needs to be almost like your number one priority, Yeah. So that's.
I think the other part too is I forgot what I was going to say. Something came up. Hold on one second. you know, the events that are being offered here speaks to what you just said too. And a lot of them, like if it's coming to this event here, or with Anna on Wednesday, or if it's coming Wednesday night to or Friday night. Like on Wednesday night, like we also have like group discussion. A lot of people break off in the end and just have one-on-one conversations. And I think too, when we're looking to change and to create something new, I feel like a part of it too is like putting ourselves maybe in situations like coming to some of these events where it may feel a little bit uncomfortable, but it's also a community of people who are trying to do the same thing that you're doing. Or maybe you're not too sure what you want to do, and it's just some people. Like I had a girl who was coming on Wednesday nights. She's just like, wow, I'm like way back here, and everyone else is like over here. I'm like, it's not about comparing. It's about showing up and just seeing like, oh, there's a possibility of something to be different, and maybe recognizing like, this is showing me that I have work to do, but I'm also seeing that it can be done. Like I'm seeing it in other people, and that's part of the reason I think for the offerings here and what's going on is to a place to not have to do it alone. Is my point, I guess.
Yeah, and I think that this is becoming, the last 3 years, because of the pandemic and because, everybody was in isolation. And then, as we sort of emerged, a lot of people found connection in things like social media.
Yeah.
So you're still actually home. And then you're comparing what other people are doing to what you're not doing versus taking action and getting out of bed and, finding people who are all kind of just like, what's going on? Like what's actually happening and how can I feel better because the things that maybe you're doing haven't been serving you or whatever it is, or maybe your life is freaking awesome. Still come because you're going to inspire, somebody else to change. Like we have people in our community that suffered with addiction, for 25 years who are maybe 4 or 5 years into their recovery or maybe 10 years into their recovery. And now they're finally dealing with the health repercussions of the choices that they may have made 2 decades ago. And then that might inspire you to make that dentist appointment or inspire you to go see that therapist. And so again, or maybe somebody is doing something that you never even thought to try.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And this is the point. Like I grew up in Maine where there was not a yoga studio on every corner. I had never even heard the word Reiki. Nobody was getting massages. Nobody was even going to a therapist. Like that was kind of taboo almost.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like, this is why I say that we are kind of providing these services for like regular folks who aren't necessarily woo-woo or aren't necessarily like wellness coaches. And, maybe this is like kind of new. Maybe they are just used to the traditional Western healthcare system where they just go to a doctor once a year for a physical. But then like, is that system actually taking care of you? So we're trying to put the care back in mental health care and just general community because, again, healing for me doesn't happen in a bubble. I mean, sure, I do sometimes want to be one-on-one, but I think being in the group and what's the beautiful thing about Friday nights especially is that it's always a different group of people. Same with Wednesday night. You never really know who's going to show up and you end up meeting a few new people and it's just like, again, it ripples and people are hearing about us and what we're doing and we've been sticking with it and I'm very proud of us for our consistency because whether one person shows up or we're just streaming, we're showing up. And I think, again, we have to lead by example, and all of these practices have made me just feel so much better. So I hope I'm inspiring somebody out there. And we've hopefully, changed somebody's mind today to make the next step to, feel better. Because, the more of us that are out here doing this work, the more of us are raising the vibration, the more light we're creating. And this is a pretty dark world lately, and it's a pretty intense place to be, especially if you're an empath. And if you watch the news, I just encourage to shut that shit off. You know what I mean? Honestly, I think I quit the news about 12 years ago because, again, my nervous system, I'm just too sensitive to it. You know what I mean? So your news can be like the news within your 4 walls. It can be the news within your community that you focus on, and instead of maybe the problems of the world that you cannot control or solve. Because you can go down a rabbit hole pretty fast with that. So that's my advice. The revolution will not be televised. Shut your TV off. Tune in, drop out, and love. And it does. It comes back to love, self-love, self-care. This has been an amazing, to me, first show for Rise Up Breathwork with incorporating the journaling. And this is also a practice I would like to incorporate into my morning routine. Maybe rereading that and then kind of tackling one of the ideas, a day. Because I've had a lot going on in that piece.
And the other, at the beginning too, you mentioned titration, which basically just means like how much are we going to do it, like a little bit or a lot.
Right.
And so like maybe someone has a desire to, let's just say, lose 80 pounds,
Right.
right? And so we have this thought of like, and when we titrate, like when we do have something that's maybe big like that too, it's, I feel important to maybe just be like, what's the first step?
Right.
And maybe the first step was just like, I had a client once that couldn't walk out of the house. And so the first step was just to walk to the front door. And then step 2 was to get to the mailbox. And, you know, and it was like these little titrating steps of just like really building to a point to where we can actually maybe gain the end goal. And just honoring, I think, those small little tiny things that have to occur in order to get over here. Because a lot of times I think our mind just goes from, I do this and then I get to here, but we don't look at all the little things in between. And that's why I wanted to go back to 2023 and kind of review and honor so that we see those steps in that process and what are we carrying over and what's new.
Yeah, and it made me think of a few things that I kind of started that I kind of fell off that I want to revisit. Yeah, and Mercury retrograde is over, guys, in case you didn't get the memo. So great time to start to manifest some new changes.
Exactly.
So.
All right.
Well, thank you, Matt. It's been a beautiful Tuesday. I hope everybody is well. Again, follow us at pcsam.org. We are going to probably be shifting away from the social media broadcasts in the future, and we're going to be hopefully creating on the actual website some exclusive member content. So again, as we discuss certain things that might be a little bit more private, we don't necessarily need it on, you know, for the whole entire world to see. So, you know, when you become a member, it does open up an exclusive membership area that's going to have kind of some different content as we move forward. So thank you again for tuning in to Rise Up Breathwork. Hope to see you tomorrow at 1 p.m. for our midweek reset with Anna, which is a gentle, slow flow yoga practice with our self-care doula, who we just love and adore here at the channel.
And stop down.